Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Car Reviews podcast here with CollectorCarCanada.ca. We're shooting the intro and the intro only from on location from the Burlington Cruisin' Car Show, Burlington, Ontario, BCCS for short. Check it out on Facebook. They've got a page there, BCCS, Burlington Cruisin' Car Show. So today we're here to tell you about four cars, well, three cars and one truck. Two of them are in Alberta and two of them are in the GTA. So first up, we have a 1999 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra Convertible 5-speed manual. Take a look at the detailed listing for this one. It is lot 300 and even 300. Has had some good modifications to it. Take a look for the details on lot 300. It's finished in vermilion red over a black leather interior, a low miler, and in a really nice presentable condition. So lot 300 for the 1999 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra convertible 5-speed manual. Next up, it's another Ford. It's actually a Ford Frenzy. All four vehicles we're talking about today are made by Ford, but this one's an older one. 1952 Ford F1 pickup truck, 3-speed manual. So this one was restored starting 12 years ago. I think the job was finished about 10 years ago. An original Saskatchewan truck, three on the tree, so manual transmission, but the shifter's on the column. And this one's finished in blue and black over a white and blue interior. All original type components other than the bench seat, which is out of an 80s era truck. So that one's lot 301, the 1952 Ford F1 3-speed manual pickup truck. Next up, lot 302. 302, a good Ford number. It is a 1998 Ford Mustang GT. So that Ford Mustang GT also treated to some great modifications. It's also owned by a licensed technician, which I think is very much to its benefit because a guy like that has got, well, I won't say 24/7, but I will say 8.5 access to hoists, and he takes care of things when they're needed. So that one's lot 302 again, 1999 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual coupe. And the last car for today, another Mustang, another Ford in our Ford Frenzy week. It's a 1997 Ford Mustang GT convertible 5-speed manual. So just like the Ford Mustang GT coupe we just told you about, this one comes with an Ontario safety, already safetied and ready to go. And it is lot 303 on collectorcarcanada.ca. Checking in at under 200,000 kilometers, and this one comes with the added excitement of no reserve. Deep forest green over a tan cloth interior. Lot 303, the 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. So those are the four cars we have for you in this episode. Here come the cars, and thank you for watching here from BCCS, the Burlington Cruisin' Car Show. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another great car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.ca. Today we have a neat one for you. It is a 1999 Ford Mustang Cobra SVT. So a step up from the Mustang GTs. This one's a Cobra SVT, and we'll get into a little bit about what differentiates those from the Mustang GTs. So this one is a 1999, an interesting year for Mustangs, being that it's the first year of what's called the New Edge look in the SN95 generation of Mustangs. This one is finished in its original vermilion red. So the Ford paint code on that is code E8. And this one has about 69,000 kilometers on it. Although I should mention that the odometer is counting the distance in miles. So it's a little under 43,000 miles. Despite being a Canadian market car, this car has spent some time in the United States, and the US owner switched over the instrumentation to Imperial, and that's why it's got the miles per hour odometer. So I got a bit into the colors of the car. Vermilion red for the exterior, and it's got a black convertible top. The light bar you see, which looks a bit like a roll bar, but it's not, it doesn't have the safety offerings of a proper roll bar, but it's black as well with, of course, the center high mount stoplight. But on the interior, it's black leather. So a nice contrasting black leather. Some other exterior features on the car. It's got a full paint protection film, so PPF, applied on the front end. The rims are real eye catchers. They're a Saleen style. So Mustang people will know the name Saleen as a company that offers aftermarket performance parts for Mustangs. So these are a Saleen style made by American Muscle. There's a set of Nitto tires, high performance tires with the car. And in addition to this set that we're showing in our video, the original rims with a set of tires are offered with the car. You can see the car's got a sizable rear spoiler. That's a Saleen item. So that's a little bigger than you would have seen out of the factory for this car. And there is also a fiberglass speedster type tonneau cover for the rear seats included. So it covers the rear seats and gives the car a real two-seater look when it's in place with the top down. Another tell for the SVT Cobra is that the tail lights have amber indicators. So the only amber lenses on a 99 Mustang would be for the Cobra SVT. There's a set of aftermarket headlights installed. You might notice also that the side markers on the headlight assembly are clear as opposed to amber. And of course, the convertible top is a power top. We do have a video of that on our detailed listing for lot 300 on Collector Car Canada. And it's in excellent condition, operating as designed. Take a look at that video to give yourself the peace of mind you need. So on the interior, as I say, black leather right from the factory, excellent condition still. Interesting stereo setup. It's the stock item. At the time, Ford had a Mach 460 sound system, and this car is so equipped. But the reason I say it's interesting is because 1999 was a time when people wanted to be able to play CDs in a car, but they didn't want to give up their cassette decks. So the main head unit is an AM/FM with a cassette player, and then below it in the center stack is a separate CD player. So getting into the mechanicals of the car, there's a lot of aftermarket modifications mechanically in the car. So the car does have a bit of a profile of a performance, a modified car, but a lot of this stuff you don't see in the appearance of the car. So out of the factory, the car was equipped with a 4.6 liter double overhead cam V8. Now the Mustang GT had the same displacement, but was a single overhead cam unit. However, this one has been really popped up. It's equipped with a Vortec Pro charger, so a supercharger, and that's a recent install. Under 100 kilometers of use since it was installed. Out of the factory, the car came with a 5-speed manual transmission. The transmission fluid's recently been flushed, and the clutch, the owner tells us, is in excellent condition. So in addition to the supercharger being added in under 100 kilometers, there's a new radiator with Reich 170-degree performance thermostat, and that's specific to the 99 to 04 Cobra Mustangs. Also under 100 kilometers since install for a couple of other items here, the MagnaFlow exhaust system. Check our other videos to hear the car running both at idle and under load. And as well in the suspension, there's a set of BC Racing coilovers. Again, under 100 kilometers on the car since it was installed. The subframe connectors are installed for chassis reinforcement, and there's a factory independent rear suspension. This would be the only Mustang that has the IRS for $1999. And in fact, this was not offered along the full line of Mustangs until the S550 Mustangs came in model year 2015. Stock brakes, good condition for the stock brakes. So just a little bit on the history of the car. It was originally purchased new out of a Ford dealer in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We have the window sticker on the car. And until about 5 years ago, it was a single family ownership on the car. And at that time, it was picked up by someone who lived in Montana. And it was in Montana for a couple of years. And the current owner repatriated it 2 or 3 years back. So it's always been stored in a heated garage, never winter driven, never even exposed into rain. And under current ownership, it's been a trailer queen. It spends more time being shown at concours type events as a trailer queen than it does being driven. It's only been driven about 50 kilometers a year under current ownership. So do take a look at that detailed listing in terms of documentation. We've got a big long load of paperwork right from the original purchase. I could get into some of those items, going through them. As I say, we do have the original window sticker for the car. There's a brochure. There's a recent inspection certificate from a licensed mechanic shop. All of the features of the SVT Cobra, as well as some warranty work that was done in the claim early in its lifetime. There's a Ford SVT. SVT stands for Special Vehicle Team. So this car is one of only about 4,500 Cobra SVTs for the year. We've got the precise numbers on that on the detailed listing. Again, it's lot 300, but there's a certificate of authenticity in there. The original bill of sale appears, as well as various work orders and part slips from over the years. We do have a clean Carfax electronically on the listing, and the car also spent some time in British Columbia. So that time, there's a separate car proof report covering that period of time in British Columbia, because with the government insurance under ICBC in British Columbia, they keep their own separate records. So take a look at the car proof to build up the clean Carfax. So a few more points. Again, 69,000 kilometers on the car. It's got the 4.6 liter double overhead cam 32 valve V8 with the supercharger, Tremec T45 5-speed manual, vermilion red. The paint code is E8 on the Ford palette. Black leather, perfect functioning AC, blowing cold, independent rear suspension, and all those performance upgrades in the past 100 kilometers. So that's going to about do it for this one. Again, it's lot 300, the 69K kilometer 1999 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra Convertible with 5-speed manual. I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car. Hi everyone, and welcome to another great vehicle here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.ca. I use the word vehicle today because we have a truck. It is a 1952 Ford F1 pickup truck with a 3-speed manual, and it's been restored. This truck is an original Saskatchewan item, and it was picked up out of Saskatchewan about a dozen years ago by the current owning family, who commissioned a restoration of the car. So it does have its original flathead V8. It was rebuilt at the time of the restoration. It's rolled probably about 10,000 kilometers since. Same with the transmission. It's a 3-speed manual, 3 on the tree, column shift, and that was rebuilt at the time of the restoration going back about 10 years ago as well. The drivetrain is stock and rear drive only. So the car is finished in a blue with black, with the white grille with the familiar 3 teeth on it. And that is a proper paint job that was commissioned during the restoration going back about 10 years again. I will mention that On the passenger side rear fender, there's a bit of cracking on the paint. We do show that in our gallery for lot 301 on Collector Car Canada, and there's even a video about it. So a really proper looking truck, and it does have that flaw, and we did want to show it to you. So take a look at that, be well informed. But talking a bit more about the exterior, full body restoration, completed about 10 years ago. And these colors, this blue with the black, definitely a correct period color for 52 Ford trucks. You'll see chrome emblems. There's a Ford emblem above the grille with a V8 emblem above that on the hood. And then on the side, there's some neat chrome bright work on the side of the hood. So the chrome trim and the badging are either restored or replaced as needed at the time of the restoration. The owner tells us the glass and all seals are in good condition. It presents today as a straight, solid, rust-free Saskatchewan example, despite being in Alberta for the last 10 or 12 years or so, as I say. On the inside, it's largely interior, including the dash, gauges, and trim. You'll see some cream and white in there. The bench seat is out of an 80s vehicle, and that was replaced during the restoration process. Again, it's a column shift and a manual transmission that's operating properly according to the owner. Three-speed manual. The headliner and interior finish, other than that bench, restored to original appearance. So on the mechanical side of things, it does possess, it's still running its original flathead V8, which was rebuilt during restoration. Now that is originally rated at 106 horsepower for this V8, and it's 239 cubic inches in displacement. It was originally a 2-barrel carburetor, and the owner replaced that carburetor in preparation for the sale. So nice smooth fuel delivery in it right now. Again, the 3-speed manual that was rebuilt during the restoration, and that stock drivetrain's been retained throughout. Cooling system's been rebuilt, and it's retained in original configuration. The brakes have been rebuilt, and as you'd expect, drums at all 4 corners, originally in this 1952 Ford F1 pickup truck, and drums remain in place. Stock suspension, stock steering rebuilt in that restoration, and also true to original on the electrical side of things, still a 6-volt system with stock wiring, would you believe? So a little bit about the history on the truck. Originally from Saskatchewan, and had remained there throughout its life until it was purchased in disassembled condition by our seller. And so that was about 11 and a half years ago, and the restoration started soon after, completed about 10 years ago. It's been garage stored all that time. About 10,000 kilometers have been accumulated since that time. Although the odometer shows about 51,000 miles. This is a 73-year-old truck, so we're promoting it certainly as true mileage unknown. And it was last registered in Saskatchewan. So just working our way through the truck, you want to take a look at the bed. The wood in the bed is really well presented, well preserved and finished with painted slats as well. So they're all in that same blue that the exterior of the truck shows off. Original steel wheels in blue with a set of Kelly tires with chrome finished caps. And then the tires, the Kelly tires, do provide a neat original look. We've got a couple of photos of the tires with a coin inside the tread to give you some comfort that there's lots of tread left on those. Do take a look at those chrome appointments on the side of the hood, as well as that V8 emblem on the front of the hood. Neat touches, and another great accent, of course, is that toothy grille finished in white up front. And again, the interior of the truck, seat belts have been added. The interior of the truck presents true to original, except for that bench seat, which has been added from an 80s truck. Each door card features a chrome window crank as well as a latch to open the door. There's blue paint to match the exterior on the top, as well as a beige door card in place. And a good, honest truck. It's even possesses still its original AM radio. And with that 3-speed shifter on the column, certainly true to original. 6-volt system. We do have many photos, not just of the engine compartment of the truck, but even the underside while it's on a lift, so you can get a good look at the underside of the truck as well as the exterior. Satisfy yourself that it is corrosion free. So that's going to about do it for our video on this 1952 Ford F1 pickup truck with the 3-speed manual restored. I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car. Hi everyone, and welcome to another great car here on the Car Reviews podcast with CollectorCarCanada.ca. Today we have a 1998 Ford Mustang GT Coupe with the 5-speed manual. This car is a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing. You probably can't tell from there. There are a couple of hints. You can see the wheels are upgraded to a staggered set, and there are even Brembo calipers up front. But this car is kind of the proverbial wolf in sheep's clothing. Some aftermarket modifications, actually quite an extensive list, all tastefully done and all done with brands you'll recognize. We've got a big Steeda parts invoice pictured on the detailed listing for lot 302, a good Ford number. So lot 302 for this 1998 Ford Mustang GT Coupe with 5-speed transmission. And we'll get into those performance modifications further on in this video. So this one is a black on, I'd say charcoal, but that kind of undersells it. You'll see there are some subtle bright tones in the inserts of the seats. So the bolsters are solid charcoal. The inserts are charcoal with some subtle bright highlights within. So again, lot 302. This one, I'm not going to hide from it. This one's going to its new owner with under 244,000 kilometers. I couldn't tell by looking at it. I also couldn't tell by driving it. The owner trusted us to drive it over here for today's video. But before you dismiss it with those miles, consider that a lot of these 4.6 liter V8 engines had derivatives of that engine in Ford Crown Victorias of the day. And I like to say they probably did 200 or 250,000 kilometers as police cars with lots of idling. And then they did another 300 or 350,000 kilometers as taxi cabs back in the day, also with lots of idling. So a pretty robust, I won't say bulletproof, but pretty close engine, this 4.6 liter V8. Originally rated at 225 horsepower. Check the dyno reports on the listing though. We can get more specific than that because it's changed since this car rolled out of the factory in Michigan back in, it's a 1998 model year. I just looked at the VIN badge in the door jamb. I don't know if it was built in 97 or 98, but a 1998 model year Ford Mustang GT Coupe 5-speed manual. So it's time to start the engine. We'll listen to the engine idle and we'll listen to the muffler, and then we'll continue on with the review. So I'm going to turn on my other microphone so that you can hear the car starting, not just the microphone that's in my by my collar. So without further ado, here's a start. Just to make sure I'm in neutral with the handbrake on, and I am. So no trouble at all with the start, as I expected. We do have a cold start video on the detailed listing, again, lot 302. And there are a few city driving videos, so you can hear the engine while it's propelling the car on those. So I'm going to change the camera angle, pop the hood, and we can get to it with the rest of the car running portion of the video. So a glamour angle of the 1998 Ford Mustang GT Coupe with 5-speed manual. We'll cruise on in and get a sound of the engine at idle. I think it's fair to say that that engine is sounding pretty smooth and healthy. No hiccups or jumps. And the engine compartment, while dusty, looks pretty clean, and it's had some mechanical attention. We'll take another look at it after we shut down the engine. There are some great detailed shots, though, on the detailed listing again. Lot 302. Back to the rear of the car now to listen to the exhaust. So factory dual exhausts. Those are pretty close to the exits from the factory, but I believe what you see them tapered out a little bit. I think those might be aftermarket, but if they are, they're a good likeness to the factory unit. So I'm going to shut down the engine now, but we'll take a closer look at that engine bay. I got the key. I note the fob, so remote entry with this 98 Mustang GT Coupe 5-speed manual. So again, this one's the 4.6 liter V8 engine, a surge of 10 horsepower from the 97, and again, known it for being very robust. Also, I've already mentioned some modifications under the hood here. You can probably see some of them, certainly that air intake, but I'll tour you around a little bit. That's a factory item, that Mustang logo up here. The valve covers look factory as well. 4 plugs here, 4 plugs here, and then the valve cover on the other side of the V. The shock towers, while I do see some aftermarket hardware here, they look quite healthy. The body of this car looks pretty good to me. We do have underside photos on the detailed listing, again, lot 302. And here's belt and pulleys. Look at those, nice and clean. The car is equipped with air conditioning, and I'm pleased to report that the AC blows cold. I tested it out about 10 or 15 minutes ago before we got underway with the video. And another nice thing I like on these older cars is to see that it's got a Ford Motorcraft battery. No trip to Costco involved. So yeah, a good, robust, honest power plant. Do take a look at the detailed listing for modifications. So we'll cut now and we'll get on to the exterior tour next. Another great thing about this 1998 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual modified, at least for Ontario bidders or buyers, is that the car comes Ontario certified. So it does come with an Ontario Safety Standards certificate. And it's probably worth mentioning that this car is currently owned by a licensed technician. So when some delay on maintenance, this owner has got a fully equipped shop at his disposal. So that kind of accounts for the excellent condition that this car is in. So I like to do these videos without any notes. However, with the modifications, I'm going to refer to some notes. So if I sound robotic, I admit I am reading for part of this, but there's just so much here that there's no way I could commit it to memory. We do have it written also, though, on the detailed listing, lot 302. So in the driveline, PI heads and intake, a Steeda GT high flow air intake, which we saw, McLeod Racing clutch, McLeod Racing flywheel. Both of those were done in the summer of 2023. McLeod Racing clutch arm, Ford Racing throwout bearing and pilot bearing. The gearing is 3.73. There's a Steeda triax shifter and some BBK parts. Adjustable clutch cable, aluminum clutch quadrant, and firewall adjuster. And there's a Posi limited slip differential rear diff. The exhaust, Steeda stainless steel exhaust with Steeda mufflers. So the Mustang crowd will recognize the name Steeda as a recognized leader in Mustang performance modification. In the suspension, I mentioned, I think already, the Brembo front caliper. So there's a Brembo Cobra R brake kit. Cross-drilled front rotors, you saw those. Steeda Sport strings, Tokiko Alumina 5-way adjustable shocks, and aluminum lower rear control arms, aluminum upper rear control arms, full-length subframe connectors, Steeda bump steer kit, and there are larger sway bars in the front and rear compared to factory. Tires and wheels, there's a replica set of Celine wheels. I don't know if I phrased that well. Celine replica set of wheels, 18 by 9 up front and 18 by 10 in the rear. I'll show you the tires up close. Of course, a staggered set, and they're Nitto 555s. So I really just wanted to give you a little hint of the mods, but as I got into it, I didn't want to sell anything short. You'll see that list and more, of course, on our detailed listing. So again, a black finish. One of the front fenders was repaired and repainted. It's the original repaired fender, and otherwise an original paint car. I think I'm running low on this camera. I'm going to switch over cameras. Running low on battery, that is. If you see a cut, that's why. Okay, getting back to our video. So enough of the notes, back to winging it as I like to do. So we'll zoom on into this Nitto 555 up here on the driver's front. Again, a staggered set. I also noted 2021 as the date code on these tires. The date code actually is on the other side of the tire, but it's on the outside for the fronts. So I'll show you that when we get around to that side. But here's the size, 255/35 ZR18. And you can see after the load rating of 94 that they're a W rated tire. And of course, the GT 4.6 liter stock emblem, Ford went to the 4.6 liter in the 96 model year. So as I said, though, the 98s came out of the factory with 225 horsepower compared to 215 for the 97s. But yeah, you're going to see that on any stock 98 GT. Same emblem on the convertibles too, actually. I noted that while the mirrors match, Ford did not paint the mirrors, the mirror caps at least, on the Mustangs. So that's a plastic finish. It's not metal and painted as the rest of the body, but that's a stock look. There's a little look at the VIN, but of course we have that on our detailed listing. Working our way back, well, I'm thinking of it, maybe I'll show you the front. I noted a few stone chips up here, but for the mileage, year, and original paint, I think we're doing pretty well here for stone chips. I'm just getting a coin out to give you a sense of perspective. So they're small, but of course on a black car they turn up. I think those might do well with just a tiny bit of touch-up paint. But anyone who wants the car original, will leave it as is. And then down on the just the rubber bottom of the front spoiler, I don't see any defects with it, but it is a bit sun bleached, admittedly. So we'll work our way back. You can see the venting here on the hood. Same on the other side, stock Mustang GT item for the time. And same with this intake here, stock for the time. The car is equipped with tinted glass, and all of the glass has the Ford and or Carlite item. So even the windshield might be original, but if not original, certainly the proper brand. Getting back here now, I don't think I showed you the Brembo caliper, but Brembo calipers up front here over the cross-drilled rotors. And then back here, we've got the Nitto NT555 that are different size here in the rear. Again, a staggered setup and a wider wheel in the rear. So 285, 35, ZR18 in the rear. After that low rating of 101, you see that same speed rating of W. So yeah, these tires are dated 2021. And when I put my finger on them here, there's some good grippiness ready to go there. So the familiar for Mustang, not every single year, but certainly it started again up in 96. The vertical 3-section of tail light, a good tribute to the original model year 65s. And yes, I know they're 64 and a half, but if you look on the registrations of those cars, they're registered as 1965s. I did show the exits, those I'll say polished exits. I'm not quite sure if they're chrome. And then the original rear bumper has got the Mustang GT embossing. There are people there are decal kits you could get if you wanted to highlight that. You just put a decal on the embossed part in a different color, and you can show off that you've got a Mustang GT. This owner prefers the subtle look. Ford emblem, stock unit, and here's a look at the rear quarter of the car from the passenger side. So working our way around, let's see if we can find those date codes on the tires I mentioned. I'd like to show those to you. I did see them with the naked eye earlier, so I hope I can find them again. So here we go. So the 14th week of 2021 for this guy. There are pictures of that on our detailed listing, again, lot 302. But same story over here, although we're on the shaded side of the car. There's a look at that nice clean interior. We'll get to that in a minute. And the same fender emblem, the GT 4.6 liter. I do notice a mark on the wheel here. Again, Brembo calipers up front. And here is the date code for the front, 20th week of 2021. Oh, I do see some paint upset here. I'm just noticing that for the first time. But of course, that skirt is not metal. That's some kind of a poly material. I did just notice that fault in the rims. I'm going to take a look at the other three. I didn't notice any, but I wasn't looking for faults. Usually they just jump out at me. So I don't think I'm going to find any, but I'd like to address it so long as I'm thinking of it. So both rears look good. No curb rash there. And none here on the driver's front either. I'll pull out my handy dandy toonie and we'll give you some sense of perspective on this this mark on the passenger's front wheel. Got a pocket full of change for once, but oh, there's a loonie. There's my toonie. That's what I wanted. Okay, so that gives you a sense of it. So if you're really choosy, you might want to refinish it, but pretty minor if you ask me. So one more look at the exterior here, and we'll move on to close up of the interior. Lot 302, 1998, Ford Mustang GT Coupe, 5-speed manual, modified. Clean black door card here. I think on the detailed listing you might say black on black, so an all black interior. I'd call it more of a black on charcoal because there are some elements of a dark gray. And then, as I was saying earlier, in the seat inserts, there's a little bit of bright fabric mixed in that pattern. So it wakes up what would otherwise be a solid black. Well optioned car. Here are the power windows and locks and mirrors. I will note though that car's equipped also with a power seat. You can see the control there. And this reclines the seat manually, and then there's the release to push it up to get access to the rear seat there. Climbing inside, I believe these are the original mats because you can see that opening is there for the hook so that the mat doesn't slide around for during driving. And there's an aluminum set of pedals in there, the big aluminum dead pedal, and there's a hood release as well. I noted that the steering wheel felt really good, but I think this piece here, it feels a bit like Alcantara. I'm not sure if it's authentic Alcantara, but the red stripe for centering the steering wheel, I just clicked it a bit off center, so apologies for that. A rear defrost over here on the left underneath the light pull. Minor gauges on the outside. We've got coolant temperature and fuel on the left. And then on the right, we've got voltmeter and oil pressure. And in center left, we've got a speedometer maxing out at 240 kilometers an hour to indicate a Canadian market car. And I think you can see incorporated into the base of the speedometer is the odometer showing under 244,000 kilometers. And then over on the center right, we've got the tachometer, red line at 6,500, max reading 8,000. There's a trip odometer there. And you can see the theft uh, light flashing to indicate the car is equipped with an alarm. But no lights on when the car is running. You can see that in our driving videos, of course. Over here on into the center console, as I said earlier, the AC blows nice and cold. Center vents. There are vents on the outside as well. And before I get into the head unit, I'll show you here that the car is equipped with a pretty booming sound system for 1998. So at the time, the Ford brand was Mach 460, all factory, but really good sound on it. So this is sort of early when CD players were introduced in cars. So this one's got AM FM cassette up here, and then there's a separate unit for CDs. Pretty neat treatment above the glove compartment. Ford's done a good job with incorporating not a first year passenger airbag, but fairly early. They've done a nice job with making that presentable. There's the Mach 460 speaker in the upper door here. One funny thing, I've driven these cars around a little bit, and if you've really got the stereo pounding, you might see some vibration in the side view mirror. So that maybe that's an indication that get the stereo on a little loud. But each door's also got the bigger speaker, power window, and lock switch for the passenger as well. So a 5-speed manual transmission. There's the shifter, a big red ball for the knob, and a couple of cup holders. These were new for the 98 model year. The 97s look alike on the outside, but they didn't have this cup holder set up. And what I just removed could be used as an ashtray. It would appear it has not been used as such in this car, but if you prefer to have the cup holder, you just toss that aside, maybe pop it in the glove box. And there's what is now showing as a lighter, but a 12-volt outlet otherwise. A switch for fog lights. Take a look at our detailed listing for a mention of that. And then this console door opens up, and there are a few personal items in there. We're not going to get into that. And then I just popped up this lid. There's another 12-volt outlet there. So good for modern times. Same thing with the glove box. We've got pictures of it empty in the detailed listing, but it's filled with personal items right now. So I'm not going to open it up for the video. Back seat in really nice condition, probably hardly ever used as you'd expect in a 98 Mustang, but the matching charcoal outer bolsters with the inserts, including the bright highlighting. I did mention the Ford mats in the front. There are no mats in the rear. And then these seats pop down individually. So I'd call them a 60-40 split. We did have the other one down in the picture. So an armrest for outside armrest for each rear passenger as well. Here's that, I mentioned it earlier. Here's that data tag on the door jamb, and I can see this car was built in 1998. So it's a late 98, 05, 98. Got a picture of that on the detailed listing for lot 302, as you'd expect. Next up, the trunk. Trunk just as clean as the rest of the interior of the car. That charcoal, which I think would be the same color on every 1998 Mustang, but no need for color coordinating, I don't think, in the trunk. Trunk lid, the underside also looks pretty good. And underneath there's a spare tire that looks like it's probably never been used, with the spare tire change kit as well. Not too much to see in this trunk, but again, the key fob has got a remote release for the trunk. So one more maybe quick 3/4 walk around the car, and we'll move on to some closing thoughts. Another flaw I noticed earlier, I better show it to you in the video. There's a picture of it on the detailed listing, and it's here on the trunk lid. So working our tuning right to it, you can see a little dent right here. That gives you a sense of the size of it. But we're trying to show you everything, including the little ones. But the little ones seem to be the worst ones. Pretty clean car here. 1998 Ford Mustang GT Coupe. 5-speed manual, modified. Lot 302 on collectorcarcanada.ca. So on to some closing thoughts. So there's our look at the 1998 Ford Mustang GT, 5-speed manual modified. Again, it's lot 302 on collectorcarcanada.ca. Some tasteful cosmetic mods. I don't see much cosmetically beyond the wheels. And of course, the tires have to be a little bigger too. But some great performance modifications, itemized not only in this video, but also in writing on the detailed listing for lot 302. Black over a black charcoal interior with some bright fabric touches, subtle touches on the inserts of the seats. 244,000 kilometers, but this one is going with an Ontario Safety Standard Certificate. So easy peasy to get this one onto its next new owner. And yeah, it's a pretty neat package. Having driven it over here, I'm kind of looking forward to driving it back to the owner's shop. Again, the owner is a licensed technician, so this car gets the attention it needs. I've only got a kilometer or so to drive, but as I say, I am looking forward to it. And I just want to thank you for watching. And now we're going to move on to the next car. All right. Welcome to the Car Reviews podcast on collectorcarcanada.ca. We've got another great one for you today. It's a 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. For you Ontario shoppers out there, this one comes with an Ontario Safety Standard Certificate. It's been refinished in deep forest green. So the car was repainted in its entirety before the current owner owned it. And so deep forest green over a cloth interior colored in tan with a little bit of color inside to wake it up a little bit. So you've just seen the top in motion, and I guess that's the reason to have a Mustang convertible. Beautiful late summer day here in the GTA. This car is being sold out of Toronto. And as I say, Ontario Safety Standard Certificate coming with the car. The 4.6 liter V8 engine has propelled the car about 197,000 kilometers. And before you poo-poo that as being high mileage, consider that a derivative of this engine went into the Crown Vic police cars. They turned into high mileage Crown Vics, and they turned into higher mileage Crown Vics when they became taxi cabs after that. You still see them on the road everywhere with far more mileage than this car has. So we're going to start this one up. We'll listen to the engine, the idle, and we'll continue with the tour after that. So I'm going to click on the other microphone to give you a sound of the start. And here we go. So no problem at all with the start. The car's been driven a little bit. We do have a cold start video on the detailed listing. This one is lot 303 on Collector Car Canada. So I'm going to jump out now. We'll change the camera angle. I'm going to pop the hood, and soon we're going to be checking out that engine running and then the exhaust. Here we go. All right, a straight on look at the 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible, which comes with an Ontario Safety Standards Certificate. So I've got a second microphone in my hand here. I'll just turn that on as we get close, and let's listen to this 4.6 liter V8 at idle. There's the GT emblem with the 4.6 liter reminder of what the displacement of this V8. And now let's take a listen to the pipes back here. Dual exhaust. So there's a good listen to the Mustang GT at idle, 1997 model, convertible with the 5-speed manual. So I'm going to cut the engine now. Maybe we'll take another quick tour of that engine compartment with the engine not running. And a nice appointment right in the centerpiece is this Mustang emblem right there, a nice touch. You can see the MAF and the intake, valve covers, V engine, valve covers on either side, alternator with those spinning belts you saw, and a neat stabilizer bar too. Having driven some of these SN95s, the 94 to 04 Mustang, compared to the Fox bodies, which ran from 79 to 93, certainly my driving impression is that they're a firmer ride. They feel a little safer and a little easier to toss around in the bends. But of course, Mustang people, lots of them anyway, like to modify their cars. The nice thing about this car, I suppose to each his own, but one differentiator on this car is it is not modified. So all but stock condition. As I say, I mean, it's had some part changes over the years to repair worn parts, and it's had the repaint I mentioned, but for all intents and purposes, a stock unit. So next up is our exterior tour. Getting a little late in the day, but we still have some sunlight to show off the deep forest green refinish on this 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. It's lot 303 on collectorcarcanada.ca. I mentioned that the car is equipped with its original 4.6 liter V8 engine, unmodified. And out of the factory, that was good for 215 horsepower. Certainly the Fox bodies that came before this car were rumored to be underreported by Ford in terms of power. Not sure about that on this car, but as I said earlier, despite this one being an unmodified example, there are all kinds of mod shops that will help you hop up if your Mustang V8, if that's what you want to do. A couple to look at online that just come to mind are Summit Performance, CJ Pony Parts. Someone's showing off. I don't know if you could hear it, but there was a burnout over there. It might have been a newer Mustang. And the other one that comes to mind are the big guys like Shelby American and Steeda. So let's get in close to this deep forest metallic repaint. On the front bumper cover, I'm seeing what are mostly bug marks, but I suppose some of them must be little stone chips, but only on the poly portion of the bumper cover. I'm not seeing them on the steel here of the hood. And one other imperfection I noticed on this poly cover is there's a bit of a rub here. I've got a business card. I don't have my handy dandy tuning like I do normally, but it feels pretty smooth. Maybe it'll buff out, but I'm not going to promise anything. Let's take a look at the stock wheels. So 5 double spokes with the Mustang center cap. The car's got Zeta ZTR10 tires, square setup, 245 45 ZR17 with a W speed rating. The good news is that to pass the safety, the car needed 2 new tires. They're not installed right now, but the owner tells me he's ordered the 2 new tires and they're going to be installed before this car goes to its new owner. He's going to try to arrange to have the 2 new ones put on the rear, even though it was the front ones that the mechanic didn't pass. And even so, these tires up front, they look pretty good. So all that to say, the tire doesn't pass the safety, it doesn't pass the safety. But if they look that good, I think it reflects well on the owner that he didn't wait too long or push it too far. So there's the GT 4.6 liter emblem. You see those on the early SN95s. I suppose starting in 1996 model year though, because the first 2 years of the SN95, the Mustang GT retained the 5 liter from the Fox body days. So dual mirrors on either side. They're not color coded, so the black plastic providing a bit of contrast. A pretty neat skirt system here, and then an intake in front of the rear wheel. Keep things cool back here. And there's another Zeta ZTR10, 245 45 ZR17 with the W speed rating. Convertible top, uncovered. Power top, I already demoed that for you in the video, of course. And then when the 4.6 liter went into the GTs, they went from 3 horizontal slats to the 3 vertical slats you see here for the tail lights. Dual exhaust, as I demoed earlier, and those chrome pipes might look like a Canadian Tire add-on, but those are stock items. So that shows off the dual exhaust from the factory quite nicely. Working our way around, of course, Mustang GT is embossed here on the rear bumper cover, much like the second generation Fox body Mustang GTs. We've got a Ford emblem here, and above, of course, on the trunk lid, there's a pretty cool looking spoiler, painted the deep forest green. And working our way around, here's another look at a chrome extension on that exhaust. Red reflectors on either side, and then stock wheel here. So these wheels, original wheels, impressive condition, not perfect. But yeah, these wheels have been with the car for, what's that, 28 years. So they're in pretty decent shape. Again, the rear tires that are currently on the car pass safety here in Ontario, and the fronts are going to be trashed. But the ones we're looking at now on the rears, they're going to be put up front by the owner's preferred shop. Another look at the skirt on the passenger side and that opening, that vent opening. Passenger side mirror. And here's the matching GT 4.6 liter emblem here on the passenger side front fender. Another wheel to look at. Looking pretty sharp, not perfect, but pretty good. And then working our way to the front, we did see the bug marks and some minor stone chipping on that poly portion of the bumper cover. One other thing I'll mention, the owner pointed this out to me, but he said he liked it. This originally was chrome painted, so the paint's come off and it's pretty much black. You can see a little bit of chrome left over. But for the stock look, maybe you just repaint that. That looks like a simple 30-minute Saturday morning job, should the new owner want to do it. I mentioned the red corner reflectors on the rear, not needed up front because of the lenses wrap around. One imperfection I did notice over here on this repaint is there's some overspray here onto the black rubber. But the imperfections I found in this repaint, they exist, but they're mostly in areas that are not really noticed much. And I'm just thinking of it, I'm going to show you one more. I'm not going to show you the trunk in this video. We did shoot the trunk portion of the video before we shot the rest of this car review video, and that's because there are a lot of personal items in the trunk. But I'll run the camera along just this edge of the trunk, and you can see this repaint is imperfect. However, when I close the trunk, that portion of the paint job is not even visible. So wanted to show it to you, but I don't think it's really much to get excited about. We've lost our sun, but that deep forest green is still looking pretty sharp here on this 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible with an Ontario Safety Standards certificate. That's it for the exterior. Let's take a look at that cabin. First thing I'll show you are these keys. So when the seller bought the car, it came with one key only. Soon after, he tells us he bought the fob and another blank key. He's had the blank key cut, so it operates the doors, but it was never programmed, so you can't start the car with it. So it operates the doors and the trunk, but not the ignition. Same deal for the fob. He's never had it programmed. So the new owner might choose to do that, but it's never been used and not tested. So a good look at the tan interior. There are flaws in the interior as well. Nothing too serious, but I do want to point them out. Couple of slices there in the vinyl covering on the door card, and a couple chips there. And the other item I really noticed in this car is a lot of the controls and some even the tan color is sun bleached. So that's an indication that the car's been driven a lot with the top down, which would also be an indication that it wasn't driven much in the winter or in the rain. But yeah, so there is some sun bleaching on these controls. You can see the car's got power windows, power locks, power mirrors. It's got cruise control. It was equipped from the factory with an air conditioner, but this owner really bought this car to enjoy on the sunny days with the top down. He knows the air conditioner is not running, but he's never had it tested. So budget for replacement of some of the AC parts if that's something you're looking for. But as I say, the current owner, it wasn't a priority for him. One other flaw I'll show you, the original visors are showing somewhere. The current owner, though, he says he likes having the originals, and although they're worn, he does have his original visors. So further along with the options and goodies, there's a power seat. I didn't mention that with the power accessories. We demo that in the videos on the detailed listing. So 1997, people were all over CDs, but they weren't ready to give up their tape deck. So this car's got an AM/FM cassette deck as the main head unit, and down below there's an accessory CD player from the factory. There's a look at the 5-speed manual shift knob and shifter. There's the handbrake. Another item that I want to mention, this is the switch for fog lights, and the owner did have the fog lights checked for the wiring. The wiring is ready to go, but there are no lights up front. You might have noticed that. And this is the control for the power top. So looking closely at the instrumentation, again, the car is going to its new owner with under 197,000 kilometers. This speedometer over on the left has a max reading of 240 kilometers an hour to indicate a Canadian market car, and an 8,000 RPM tach with a red line at 6,000, which is about what you'd expect for a V8 of the period. On the left, we've got coolant temperature and fuel gauge. On the right, a voltmeter and oil pressure as well. Old time lights, you just pull that one out, and there's the defroster here because the power top does come equipped with a glass window with the rear defrost. So you can, if you take a quick close look at these carpets, you can see the original carpet on the outside of the mat is not quite the same match as the mat. I suspect the original carpet was the color of the mat, which it's got a couple of seasons on it, and the Mustang embroidery really wakes up the interior. So I'm suspecting the carpet that's installed in the car, as opposed to the mat that's just placed, is sun bleached, like I was showing you those power windows and power lock buttons for the driver. Don't want to go right through the glove box. There's some personal items in it, but I wanted to show you that it comes equipped with a trunk release right there. And then in addition to the glove box, there's a little storage unit here in the console. Handy. There's some water staining. I think it's from spilled drinks on the seats. You can see some there and there. Not on the outside where you'd expect if there were to be water leaking. It'd be on the outside of the seats. And then in the rear, as I said earlier, this car has been driven primarily with the top down in the summers by the owner. I should also mention that of the 190, just under 197,000 kilometers, the current owner's had the car about 2 years, but he's done 32,000 kilometers in it. So this car has not been sitting. It's been used almost daily. So it's been exercising and not atrophying in someone's garage. But so I wanted to say how the car has mostly been driven with the top down, because there's some evidence that in a prior life, this car might have been owned by a smoker. I noticed here there's some, well, it's just not a flat surface there. And my suspicion is that someone might have had a cigarette in his hand in 1998 while shifting gears. So in first, third, or fifth, that might have melted some of that plastic. And then back here, that looks like your classic someone intended to throw a cigarette out the window, which is Canada's last socially acceptable form of littering, it seems. And then there's another mark there. And then this is a tear. It doesn't have anything to do with burns, but there's a little tear there, and you can see it in relation to the standard size business card. So I do want to be clear about that. Suspected original owner smoker car, but there's definitely no smoke odor today because the wind blows through this car beautifully. I suppose I implicitly showed you the rear seat there. You can see a couple of speakers on either side. Down below in front of that mat pocket on the door, there's a speaker. The really great speakers are here on the top of the driver door, and they're evidence of the Mach 460 Ford audio system. We actually tested out the radio earlier, and if you've got a clear FM signal, these speakers are such that they can make the side mirror vibrate. So that was interesting. Pretty clear sound for 28-year-old equipment. So bring your CDs and maybe even your cassettes. So that'll about do it for our interior tour. I don't think I mentioned this tilt steering wheel, but there it is in action. So yeah, and another item to say for 1997, there is a passenger side airbag. So that'll wrap up our interior tour. Let's move on to some closing thoughts. There's a good look at the vehicle info data decal, but we've got a photo of that on the detailed listing for lot 303. A last item to mention on our interior tour. Despite being a 1997 model year car, it's equipped for somewhat for modern times. There's a power outlet here, 12 volt, and there's an ashtray hidden in here, another 12 volt outlet for charging. Editing in on the trunk while it's empty. We've got gray carpet, your typical trunk, sort of hard finish carpet. The trunk lid, the underside looks nice and clean. And there are some stills of this and even a video, but there's a look at where the paint job is not quite up to par, but most of those spots where the paint job's not ideal are in areas you don't see much. And then down below there is a spare tire with change kit and an air filter for the next oil change. I think the owner told us the most recent one was in November of 2024, so it's probably due before being stored for the winter. But good looking metal down here. I don't see any hints of any corrosion. So that's our comprehensive look at lot 303 on collectorcarcanada.ca. It's a 1997 Ford Mustang GT, 5-speed manual convertible. It's going to its new owner, should that owner be in Ontario, with an Ontario Safety Standard Certificate. All it needed to earn its safety check was 2 new tires. So I'll also mention the mileage. It's going to its new owner with under 197,000 kilometers. And during the owner's tenure, ownership tenure of the owner, He bought it needing a little bit of work. It had the engine light on when he bought it. Put about $2,000 into some engine refurbishment. Nothing too serious. We have the work order on the detailed listing. The thing I remember seeing was that the intake manifold was replaced at that time. Other items on there, other than your typical maintenance like oil changes and the like, were there was a resealing of the fuel tank. There was something related to the front suspension or steering. Again, we've got the service record on the detailed listing. And then more recently, he had the previous owner had put a sequential indicator system on. I kind of laugh at those. They seem to be a trendy thing right now, where when Ford was the one who invented them. This did not, it was not standard equipment on this car in 1997, but someone somewhere along the way put it on, caused him some problems. So he just had it torn out and he went back to original. Probably the smart move if you want a reliable car, because this was his daily summer driver. Again, of those 197,000 kilometers, in the past 2 years, about 32,000 have been driven by the current owner. So the car's been getting its exercise, not collecting dust in a garage somewhere. So that's about it for this 1997 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual convertible. Comes with an Ontario Safety Standard certificate. I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car.